Oh, there it goes. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, bear with. Today is January 20th, 2017. It's my day 1.253, and as I was sitting here sipping coffee, I was like, it's time to make a video, Hair and makeup. Life doesn't work that way though. So, firstly, I just again have to say thank you to all of my Facebook friends and my family, my Facebook friends and family, and people in the support group, Trans Women National. I just have to say thank you to friends. Uh, it warms my heart, you know? It really does, and I appreciate it. There's too many people today, but you know who you are. Hang on. Control. Okay. Gotta align the chakras. We have to balance the humors. Okay. And I'll probably cry again. Okay. Happy. Tears of joy. And for me to cry is a big deal. My counselor, my Jedi counselor, it cut back my Zoloft at my request because I was a Zoloft zombie. I mean, I just did not have those feelings, and so it's kind of bittersweet. And the analogy I used was for Star Trek: The Next Generation when Data, Lieutenant Commander Data, gets Lore's emotion chip and he puts it in his finger, and the first thing he does is cry. And that's very liberating to have that taken away. And I know some people, Lacey and I had an exchange, and Jamie and I had an exchange one time. They're crying, and I guess I need to watch Steel Magnolias or something. But unfortunately, I will always associate that movie with an ex girlfriend, and I don't want to think about her, so probably not. But uh, so what's new? Uh, this video will sort of be half of the day after and then half of they can't take it away from you. So the first half it'll be about the day after. What do you do the day after? Okay. And the closest analogy I can share, and I don't know how much of you all will be able to identify with this, but have you ever had a child? Okay. And you're the parent, and in my case, obviously, I'm the father. You spend so much time getting ready. You get the room ready, you get the crib, you get the changing station, you got the diaper bag, you got the bottles, the formula, the bottle warmers, blankets, wipes, everything. Okay. And you're prepared. Of course, you get all the stuff. You get the strollers and the carriers and the onesies, and oh golly, it warms my little girl heart now to think about, picking out onesies and stuff before that probably I wanted to do that I couldn't because I was a man. Cute little dresses with bows. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. Won't happen it may not happen for me again. I don't know. We'll see. Let's not go there. Let's keep our minds open to possibility. So anyway, so you prepare yourself for the situation. You go to the hospital, have the baby, and that's its own, could be multiple stories on that. But eventually, you bring the baby home. You bring the child home, and you put the child in its crib, and of course the child goes to sleep, and you're like, what do I do now? You're a parent. I mean, before you were a couple, now you're a family. Okay, knock on wood, plastic as the case may be. But you're like, what do I do now? There's like a calm, and you're like, okay, whew, we made it. But then you begin to see on the horizon new obstacles and new challenges and new joys and new pains, and you're like, oh, okay. So to put a little more, to be more specific in this situation, again, this is my video blog, and I started this blog with the hope of something I can go back and learn from, but also something someone else may watch that covers kind of the small details You know, I still haven't made my music video transition blog yet. I probably won't, but so what do you do now? What do I do now? My life for the last I transitioned in the 90s, detransitioned because it didn't work out. So I have been on this GCS bandwagon, you know, attempt. What are we, 90, odd, one, I mean, a good 20 years, you know. Wars have been fought and won in less time than the amount of time that, you know, campaigns. I guess you got the 20 Years War and the 100 Years War and all that. But again, I mean, this is like huge amount of time to be going towards a certain goal, even though other things have risen up. So when you finally get to that point, much like when you bring that child home and you're like, well, what do I do now? So yesterday I got my date, and so I was like in La La Land, okay. And so today is kind of like the morning after. And it's trying to figure out what the next step is, you know. And I took my own advice. You won't be able to read it because it's scribble, but I got a piece of paper and I wrote down, and I'll tell you what it is because it's if you can read my writing, you're amazing. But basically, I broke it into columns as to the things that I need to do over the next 10 weeks. I looked at the calendar yesterday, kind of right before I went to bed, because I wanted to have a count, and the count now is 9 weeks and so many days. You know, what was something that was kind of unobtainable and in the distance. You know, you're looking at the mountain you're going to climb, and you're like, yeah, one day I'm going to climb that mountain. And now it's like, okay, I can get my backpack. Do I have enough rations? Do I have is my rope strong? You know, you're getting ready for the next climb, the next challenge. Okay. And so in the immediate future, I have to file my FMLA paperwork. Okay. Obviously, on Monday, I'll talk to my boss. Now, my immediate boss, he and I have kind of been not colluding, but we've been communicating as far as possible next steps. I mean, there's some groundwork, a little bit of groundwork laid, but nothing set in stone. So immediately, I have to secure my job. I mean, it's not, you know, fuck everything, I'm having my surgery. You have responsibilities, you know, and that's as a parent with my daughter, you know, I guarantee my income, you know, there's things you have to do, and that was part of the planning process to get to this stage. You know, I have banked 8 weeks of vacation time. I have not taken a vacation in 5 or 6 years. I've maintained my health. There have been some days that probably I should have stayed home sick and I didn't, because I have been stockpiling time in the same way of discretionary income to a certain degree. If someone says, hey, you want to go see Star Wars, or you want to go do this, and you're like, I would like to go do this, but I can't because I need to save. I mean, it's really a process. On the one hand, you're like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up time. On the other hand, you need that time to allow yourself to secure what you need to go on. It's not, and that's the hardest thing I think about this process, is we want time so quickly. We want bigger breasts, and why isn't this happening, and why, you know, well, time is your ally. You need time, unfortunately. And if you have big breasts, I'm kind of jealous. The same way I'm jealous if people have long fingernails. Anyway, so that's that. And then the next step, once we do all the paperwork and whatnot, is to begin to think about dates and what has to happen the day before surgery, and what happens the day after surgery. And I'm waiting a welcome packet that's coming that will actually outline what I have to do. You know, the citrus, the really yummy, disgusting stuff you have to drink to make you poop. You know, the logistics of the day before surgery are going to be also to be planned, and so there are a lot of things that kind of have to happen, as well as the immediate. So that's kind of like one pot that's kind of on the back burner. But for the immediate future, I have to take care of my immediate surroundings. As you might imagine, in the last week, as I was batshit crazy, I neglected my chores. I took the easy way out. You know, I made pizza for my daughter. I mean, this is also on the sheet is a grocery list. I sat down with my daughter and talked about meals. And since I'm not necessarily on restriction anymore, you know, whereas before I was eating salad and salad and salad and raw vegetables and salad, now I'm going to be eating a little bit of chicken or a little bit of turkey and a lot of vegetables. You know, so I'm beginning to address coming out of that. You know, I have to maintain, obviously, but involving my daughter, someone, you know, before, she's had several months of, you know, whatever the hell she wanted to eat within reason. I still cooked for her, but, you know, anyway, so that's really cool. So again, that's kind of the initial, you know, what do I do now? I have the new baby. What do I do now? I have to plan. I have to actually, this is going to happen, you know, so it's kind of exciting, but on the tail end of this, I would say it's important to address the immediate issues, which for me today will be resting, starting to, you know, I don't like a dirty house. You know, I have to take care of the immediates, things that were maybe pushed aside temporarily. It's time to do that. So that's really cool. And as it so happens, a couple weeks from now is Embolic, and that is a celebration. I don't want to get the word wrong, but I'm going to say a Sabbat, but I don't know that for. Anyway, purification. It'll be time to cleanse, in addition to myself, cleanse some of this spring cleaning. Okay, that's the easiest way I can say it. Spring cleaning. It'll be time to do some spring cleaning. Okay, so that's really good. So that's the first half of this video. And then here's the second half. My father has had a lot to deal with me. And I've tried to connect and maintain as much as I could a parent-child relationship. But this morning, you know, I wanted to, here I am happy. Okay, happy. It's like peeing out a kidney stone. You're happy. You're like, hey, this process is over. I mean, in theory, just run with me. This, you know, all this pre-op surgery. Will I get my date? Will I get my date? Will I lose the weight, etc. Okay, release of. Thank God it's over. Okay, even though more stuff is coming, but you've reached this plateau for the moment. And so, to talk to my dad this morning, you know, and out of the gate, you know, he dead names me. You know, to my dad, I am his son, and I will always be his son, and I guess you could say that's true. But to dead name me and misgender me, and I'm talking on the phone. I'm trying to tell him the good news, that you know my Audi is gonna become an innie, and for him, I imagine it is rather earth shattering, and luckily not for religious reasons. That would be a whole other level of bullshit. That would be a scaffolding of bullshit I would have to get through, because in religious, you can't appeal to a lot with logic. Religion and logic don't go hand in hand. I mean, it's faith. It's what you believe, and that's probably an argument for greater people than I. But if my dad was to say it's against the word of God or whatnot, that I can't argue that, because if you believe that, you believe that. Okay. But again, it just, to come from such a positive space, I am fulfilling what I wanted to do, to be kind of, dead named and whatnot. And then, well, what kind of surgery? And you're like, sex change? So, just to set this latter part up, what I wanted to say, and I'm thinking of someone in particular, and I don't want to embarrass them, but they're a beautiful young lady, and you have good nails, you bitch. It's all love, girl. It's all love. This young lady is beautiful, internally and externally, and the person that ends up with her is going to be wonderful. And I don't say that like I'm in love with her. Please don't take it that way. I'm admiring her. And raise your hand if you're a trans woman and you wish you would have transitioned sooner. Raise your hand if you're a trans woman and you want to say, why didn't I do this before? Okay. So you know where I'm coming from. You look for someone who has 20 years that you'll never get back. Okay, and you reach a point, I think, where you're thankful. I'm thankful for them, but I'm also thankful that I realized that. Okay, I'm not, angry. Let me put it to you that way. It's not sour grapes or whatnot. I'm truly happy because I'm happy where I'm at, and she's happy where she's at. Okay, and she's happy where she's at. So please don't take that the wrong way. But what I wanted to say along that to her and then to everyone else is, our transition cannot be taken away from us. Okay. I'm going to use this as my possession, but what we decide to do, definitely prior, and I'll put a timeline on it, prior to the 7th month, when you don't really look like you're changing. I think people feel like that you're a bit more malleable, and definitely it depends on how old you are and how set in your ways you are. If you're stubborn, or if you're malleable, I know for myself, and as beta version of me, the male version of me was very, could be pushed around, could be molded, people could shove, affect me and push me away, and I would take it, because I didn't have a strong sense of self or identity. I was a wallflower to be ignored, but people could control me and whatnot. And so again, I think up to that 7th month, when for all intents and purposes, you look the same way you did before. Okay. And yes, we're from the day one, we're taking our hormones. We're like, grow, baby, grow. I want breasts. I want breasts. I want breasts. But I think once you get to that 7th month, once you cross that threshold where the gestalt of you externally is looking more and more feminine, it's harder, as that solidifies, it's harder and harder for those people to affect us, even though our family knows how to push our buttons. And I forgot who it was. I think it was Ann Caspear said, our families know how to push our buttons because they're the ones who installed them. They're the ones who put them there in the first place. And that's definitely something for me, and my dad's side of the family, to whom which all connections have been broken for my own sanity's sake. Okay, and I mean they're set in their ways. The door is essentially open, and my hands are open. Peace and understanding. If you will accept me who I am, I will be your friend, etc., etc. The olive branch is always there. Okay, maybe with a little bit of conditions though. You're not going to come in and order me around. I'm not that person anymore. Damn it. Okay, but I guess what I want to say is I feel like there comes a point where you own your transition. It's part of who you are, and yes, you've set yourself up to be very vulnerable because you're your true self, and we're saplings, we're young, regardless of what age we are. When we are transitioning, we're changing, we're young, we're malleable. We're attuned more to people around us, and so those people who are used to manipulating us, but I think once we establish ourselves and we get a little bit of confidence, and we there's some obstacles we meet where we transition at work, and we our friends and whatnot. Our skin is tougher because it has to be, and we're more comfortable with ourselves. I guess is what I'm saying is other people cannot take that away from you. And I'll use the example of my dad, who I'm thankful that he's not opposed and actively trying to protest and affect myself, and me being 45, 46 years old. I'm not a baby. I don't get money for my birthday anymore. Let me put it that way, okay? They can't hold that. And that was something, I think it was Amelia had shared something about, forget Christmas presents or birthday, and you're like, okay. But again, the people who used to control you can't control you anymore. It's very liberating. But that's what I would say is, yes, we definitely want their approval. I mean, we're human beings. We want to get that confirmation, especially from the people we value. But they cannot take that away. And that's something that I thought about this morning with my dad, who, again, as whatever, his opinion is not going to stop me. His opinion is his opinion, and he's welcome to it. But I live my life for me, and you know what I mean? If anything, the one person whose opinion matters most is my daughter in the other room. And my daughter is love and compassion, and she was so happy for me yesterday. Again, for all the years that I had fear and that was put into me by certain people, and guilt, and you're a father, you're abandoning your child, you have an obligation, etc., etc. Both barrels. On an airplane, in the unlikely event of loss of cabin pressure, masks will deploy from the ceiling. You put the mask on yourself first, which seems very selfish. But you put the mask on yourself first, and then you put it on the child. And so if we don't have this shit together, then we're a chaotic mess. And I think we probably do more damage than good. So get this shit together first. And then from that, nobody can take it away from you. Get yourself together first. And I think as part of that, the other will fall in line, as far as your children, and be your authentic self. And I have another friend who's unfortunately has really come across some obstacles, and I've learned a lesson this week, that sometimes it's better to just listen and not give advice. But that's a whole other story. Back to the idea, they can't take it away from you. And that's very, very true. You can't take it away from you. You can't take it. They may not understand, and they may not approve, but they can't take it away from you. Own it. Take it. Take it. Take it. Tyrion Lannister says to Jon Snow, you are what you are. Of course, he calls him a bastard. Armor yourself in it. And that way people can't use it against you. Yes, I am a trans woman. And that's the door, so I gotta go. Bye and good luck.